Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Our neighborhood stretches in a crescent shape on the outskirts of the city, bordered by a winding creek that curves around its northern side. The creek serves as a natural boundary, preventing further expansion beyond the existing houses. The lots closer to the creek were snatched up immediately when they went on sale, but our house is situated a bit farther away, closer to the city center. One evening, as I was returning home, I didn't bother pulling into the garage. Mary's car was already parked there, so I left mine outside and got out. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, no strange cars in the driveway, but something caught my attention. Curious, I snapped a few quick photos before heading to the back door. Once inside, I locked the door behind me. Mary was waiting for me, casually relaxed in a robe. "Are you going to bed?" I asked. "In a way," she replied with a smile. "I was hoping for a bit of romance after dinner. How does that sound?" "Sounds like a plan," I said. "Let me just change." After dinner, I decided to ask her a few questions. "What were you doing when I called to say I'd be home earlier?" "I started preparing dinner and changed into this robe," she replied. "That's it? I'd like to hear it all, step by step," I pressed. She looked at me with mild confusion. "What do you mean?" "I just want the details," I said. "Tell me everything, in order." Still puzzled, Mary agreed. "All right." I prepped the ingredients for dinner, set everything to cook, then went upstairs, took off my clothes, and put on this robe. Oh, and these slippers too. "What happened next?" I asked. "Then I came downstairs, poured myself a glass of wine, and waited for you. That's all." "Nothing else? Like, you didn't close the curtains?" She glanced at the windows. "The curtains were already drawn. It gets dark so early in the winter. What's going on? Why all the questions?" "I'll get back to that," I said. "But first, take off the slippers. The house is warm enough, don't you think?" "If you say so," she said, slipping off the slippers. I took her hand and led her to the bedroom. "Did you undress here?" "Obviously," she replied. "And where are your panties?" I asked. "What?" "You heard me," I said. She walked into the bathroom and started rummaging through the laundry basket before pulling out a pair of panties. "Here," she said, almost defiantly, as if expecting my reaction. I took the panties from her hand. "Why were they at the bottom of the basket?" "I don't know," she said, annoyed. "You know," I countered, turning the panties inside out and showing them to her. "Look." "There's nothing to look at," she snapped. "There is," I insisted, pointing to a damp spot. "They're wet." She rolled her eyes. "I told you I was aroused earlier, that's all." "It seems that's not the case anymore," I muttered, tossing the panties aside. I led her to the shower. "The floor here is still wet. Did you shower after my call?" "Yes," she said, clearly irritated. "So what?" "You said you'd tell me everything, but you left that part out," I said. "Oh, come on," she exclaimed. "How was I supposed to know how detailed you wanted? I showered to freshen up for you, but honestly it seems like that doesn't matter anymore, does it?" She sighed heavily, clearly frustrated. "Let's go downstairs," I said, leading her out of the bathroom. She followed me, barefoot and silent. I escorted her to the front door and swung it open abruptly. She glanced outside, surprise flickering in her soft voice. "I didn't notice it had started snowing." "It's already stopped," I replied, "but it began just as I was leaving work. Do you see the tracks in the snow leading from the house?" She remained silent, her body tensing as a light shiver ran through her from the cold. "Look at the last set of tracks near the edge of the driveway," I continued. "Next to it, there's another set. Those are mine. His shoe size is the same as mine, size 9, and that dark spot, that's where his car was parked. That told me he arrived just before the snowfall about 2 hours ago. If you look closely, you can see where his car went, heading north. That means he lives somewhere nearby, maybe closer to the creek." "I can explain everything if you need me to," she began. "No need," I interrupted. "He parked right here in our driveway and slept with you today. He was here when I called to say I'd be home early, am I wrong?" Her lips stayed closed, but her silence spoke volumes. Yeah, that's what I thought. She lowered her head, avoiding my gaze in shame. You're going to leave him, right? I asked. Yes, she whispered softly. Good, I replied. Then go and tell him. I pulled her robe off her shoulders, my eyes lingering on her bare skin one last time. Without saying another word, I pushed her into the cold and locked the door behind her. 32 years of marriage had just come to an end. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.